Welcome to the Coaches Show with Coach Kevin Ramsey. Coach, CAU failed 36-3 against Albany State. Please talk about the game.
Well, you know, in my opinion, boy, I tell you, that was just one of the lopsided games since I've been here. You know, I thought that, you know, you got to have three segments rolling. You really do when you get in conference play. That are special teams, defense and offensively. And we had some woes in special team and offense, and we were still in it. And then just unfortunately, I thought it really got away from the fourth quarter on. We were still in it in those 3 quarters with 7 turnovers, block punt here. And I was real pleased with the defensive energy we had.
Oh, definitely,
to the later half of the fourth quarter. But very disappointed in our execution, better than that on offense. Definitely.
Now, talk about how close the game was, because I'm looking at the stat line. I'm like, this game is close. So just dive a little deeper into the closeness of the game and execution.
Well, when you look at stats, the biggest one is turnovers.
Right.
I mean, you know, we had the block kick. That was a touchdown. That
was
7 points. That was a 7-point exchange. Then you look at turnovers when they block the punt, defense come out and hold them to 3 points. Then we had a turnover at the 7-yard line. Defense come out, hold them to 3 points there. But they had a total of 215 yards to our 380 something. But at the end of the day, it's about scoring points. It's getting it in the end zone, regardless of all that in between. Who got the ball in the end zone the most? And it was, you know, it was Albany State and not us.
You talked about the defense getting 3 and outs. Just talk about how well they did this game.
Well, defensively, you know, we forced 3 turnovers. You know, early on we had the 3 and outs that we talked about. 3 and outs. You know, you putting the ball back in your offense hands, and then a couple of those turnovers that we created them in scoring territory.
There was an interception.
Yeah, that we had a chance to, you know, get points on the board, and we didn't. I thought that we had our motor going on early. Guys was playing with a lot of high intensity. And then, like I mentioned before, you know, it's 4 quarters, and you got to have that, And I thought defensively, towards the middle of the fourth quarter, I think we were a little gassed.
Talk about your favorite offensive play of the day.
The favorite offensive play, you know, we had, you know, Josh Banks had some catches, you know, going across the middle and making some things happen. And then we had the touchdown pass that was called back, you know, on us. And that was the biggest one because that was the only play that got it in the zone, and it got called back.
Right. And I know when they called that touchdown back, I know you were just like, what is going on? Yeah, we had a holding penalty I thought was somewhat questionable, but nevertheless, penalties are penalties, you know. They're part of the game, officials. Right, and sometimes you just want the officials to give you a break. And speaking of breaks, we'll be back right after this.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and to help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome to the Coaches Show with Coach Kevin Ramsey. We're back, and we're talking about offense. Now, Coach, we didn't score a touchdown in this game, but we did score on a field goal. Talk about that.
Well, Carlos Sandala, he's been doing a great job for us the whole season.
Right.
And, you know, he had a think that was about a 40-yarder he hit between
Right, it was
the
long.
uprights.
Yeah.
You know, they had to have the borders. We played at a high school field, and, you know, they had the high school goal
That was a
post.
high school?
Yeah, a high school field, so they had to put the borders for college, if you noticed that, but he still was able to stroke it in there. And like you said, though, you like to get points. You
Right,
like
of
to,
course.
There's other ways to get points, you know, primarily offensively. That's the primary way to score offensively. Special teams, you know, we was just urging for that point being scored, you
Definitely.
know, a touchdown. Even on defense, an interception we had, you know, like, hey, let's take it all the way. The fumble recovery we had with Zeke, we was one block away from scoring on that
Exactly.
one. You know, that was pivotal. But we got to get that back. We got to score. That's the name of the game, is scoring on offense, and we didn't.
Talk about Stafford's yardage this game.
Well, you know, Stafford took some shots. He took some, you know, he had some
did.
hits. So, you know, and then we had Roger Thomas, that's who really got to get going for us.
Right.
For the quarterback ground game to take place, we really got to establish the ground game with our zone, with Roger running the ball, and then the quarterback can pull and have a whole lot more success. And we never got that running game really established on a consistent basis.
Now, speaking of the running game, I'm seeing a lot of other different running backs coming in. Was there a reason that you had so many different ball carriers?
Well, of course, you know, Roger, you know, he had took a shot and he had to come out.
Yeah, I saw that.
And, you know, we rotate with Tyler Rawls.
Right.
And Mikael Young, you know, he came in and ran the ball for us very well. And so we even had some jet sweeps with Jonathan Sanders and Caleb Robertson. They came and ran the ball for us pretty well.
What's it going to take for us to score more on the offensive side of the ball?
You know, the only way you can be true to this game is execution.
Right.
You know, it's the same way you execute on defense and special teams. It's about executing. And, you know, we put the emphasis this week. You know, we came out in a lot of 11-on-11 situations. Like this morning, we went against each other pretty much the whole practice. And it's about execution, and that's the name of the game. And that's the only way to be true to this game is execution.
Now, talking about execution, third downs are pivotal. Now, we were 3 of 12, so talk a little bit about just executing with third down conversions.
Well, that's big. Keeping, you know, the drive stoppers ends on third down, you know, and that's the biggest execution that hurt us the most, not having that execution on third down. And the other thing about not converting on third down, you get your defense right back on the football field.
Right.
And I thought that it really had its weight on us in the fourth quarter when the D had to continue to go back out there. Primarily when you coming off a drive that was 8 plays or more, and they're 3 and out, you got to go back out there. You know, it's pretty taxing on the defense. But nevertheless, you know, third down is vital, and we got to really improve on that third down.
Were the defense tired at one point, like after after halftime? Were they exhausted, having to go back and forth so much?
I thought it caught up with us fourth quarter.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
Fourth quarter. You know, that's one thing I love about televised games. And, you know, you get those long breaks, TV timeouts, radio timeouts.
Right.
With us, it was a fast-flowing game. You know, it was their homecoming. I think that the only intermission we had for rest was really the halftime. Because I know they had senior day, and it was their homecoming. Of
course.
But once the clock got started in the second quarter, our guys know, hey, we just got to rise to the occasion. And the other way defense rests is to have 3 and outs as well.
Definitely.
And,
to get out as quick as possible.
Exactly.
Right.
We did that. The first half, we did it. Like I said before, it was the fourth quarter where third downs, they started converting on third downs.
Right.
At halftime, they were like 1 or 10 on third downs. Yeah, so, you know, and it flipped in the fourth quarter with them converting on third down.
Now, I know you've seen a lot of football in your life, but to me, this game that I've seen for this season was really chippy. Talk about that.
Yeah, you know, before the game, you know, a kid I coached at Carson Newman, Denarius Waits, he's their defensive coordinator. He played for me at Carson Newman. This is going back in 2006. But me and him talked before the game. You know, they had a little spark. You know, they had the hurricane that hit down there.
Right.
The campus was closed. Their football team was at Georgia Southern. So they was in a camp atmosphere. You know, they was eating 3 square meals a day, and they was going to football practice and watching a whole lot of film with no classes. They didn't get back to their campus till that Thursday. And But we knew that, and coming out in that ball game, I thought that our kids was up. We just didn't get it going on offense.
Now, transitioning from offense to defense, one of the highlights of the game was, and what it usually is, always is swarm tackling. Talk about it.
Well, that's the game. The essence of defense is tackling, as you always hear me talk about.
Right.
When I thought that William Prophet had his motor going early on, and Cam Rogers, and just that bunch. Ezekiel Edmonds,
Mixon.
Well, we had guys around the ball, and Mixon being a true freshman at that middle linebacker position, we need other guys around him to really be sharp. I thought the turnovers we created, we just got to get them in the end zone. The fumble recovery was one blocker away.
I know.
And then Kevin Washington interception at the goal line, and we can get it to the sideline and get 2 blocks. We score there. And we come back and watch film. We evaluate that. We talk about the little things that we can improve on after turnovers when we create turnovers defensively.
Well, defensively, I know we're always going to get a lot of turnovers, and maybe this next upcoming game, we can score. And speaking of scores, here are some more scores from around the league, and be sure to stay tuned for our Player of the Week.
We just finished dinner, and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
Finally, we found his assignment. He rushed through it. I wonder if he even learned anything.
I wasn't gonna get it right, so I just wanted to get back to playing my video game. At least I'm good at that.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. That's why there's Understood.org, a free online resource for the parents of the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues. Here you'll get personalized recommendations, practical tips, daily access to experts, and more. Go from misunderstanding to Understood.org.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
We're back on the Coaches Show, and I'm here with Jemai Davison. First off, where are you from?
From Snellville, Georgia.
What made you want to come to Clark Atlanta University?
Honestly, it's all God. It's all part of His plan. I was just praying to Him, asking Him to get me into grad school, and He opened up this door for me, and so I'm just eternally grateful to Him.
Now, a lot of players have come on the show, and they talked about the family atmosphere that Clark has. Talk a little bit about that.
There's a wonderful family atmosphere, just as far as being accepted as a whole. There are so many people I'm able to just go around campus and then just hug with open arms.
Right.
And just being able to embrace somebody like that, that is family to me.
Am I one of those people?
Absolutely.
Now, talk about your relationship with Coach Ram a little bit.
Oh, I love Coach Ram. Love him so much. Just being able to go in there and just have such open conversations with him.
Right.
And he genuinely cares about us. You really see it on the field and off the field, the way he speaks, the passion that he has about it. It's really not just about football. It's about cultivating us as men. And that's my favorite thing about him, is that he cares so much.
Now, you are a player, but you are also a student. What's your GPA?
My GPA is a 3.66.
My fault. Can you speak up a little louder?
3.66.
Good job.
Thank
Good job. What's your major?
I'm getting my master's in sociology.
Now, I heard you're in business with your mother. Talk about that.
We actually opened up our business 2 years ago. It's named Kadash Lending. We are mortgage brokers here in Georgia. I also have another business with 2 of my aunts, and that one's called Tweed Homes. That's a real estate investing company. And to me, that's just where the market is. It's in the housing where the market's up, down, left, right. People are still going to want to buy and sell houses.
Right.
The beautiful thing about being a mortgage broker is you're able to get financing for people. It's really getting people into the homes of their dreams. And we've recently put in an application to become lenders. And so when you're a lender, you're actually able to give out loans, to be able to make programs for those people. And to me, that's what it's about, just making a house into a home.
Wow. You just surprised me on that. I knew you a little bit. I didn't know you had it like that. Yeah. Now, I love going on the road with you guys. For one, because it's free food, you know. I enjoy it. Now, speaking of food, talk about those wonderful prayers that we be getting at Golden Corral.
Honestly, every time, even before I pray, I'm like, God, just give me the words to speak. But I really like to keep it just short and simple. Right. Just having God, just, you know, bless the food, let it be good, because you never know. Not all Golden Corrals are created equal.
You never lied. Never lied.
But yeah, it's just a pleasure just to be able to have that opportunity to be able to pray in front of everybody, and just to be able to have, again, really that family atmosphere there, and just to bring God into all things. Definitely,
because He is. Now, I was going to ask you about your game day routine, and the reason why I really want to know about that is because you're such a nice guy. Like, I see you around, I see you when we're at the games, and you're just this nice, gentle giant, but then I see you on the field, and you go in beast mode. So I want to know what's your mindset like. Walk me through
it. Game day, really wake up, go with the team. After breakfast, pretty much pop in the headphones, listen to Kurt Franklin Pandora station, pretty much just gospel music. Yeah, call my mom, she prays with me. By the time I get to the stadium, I put on anointing oil. I pass out communion to the coaches. I take communion myself. And at that point in time, I mean, that's it. I try to put scriptures into the group me, just putting on the armor of God.
The positivity. Right.
And it's really about His protection. Because, you know, the sport that we play, football, it has a 100% injury rate, you know?
Definitely.
You go in there, you're going to get something. But only through His protection can we even last. And so that's my thing for game day.
Starting from high school, tell us a little bit about your football journey.
It's always been with God, you know, whether on offense or defense. It's always been that. As you've said before, I'm a nice guy, and that really stems from just not wanting to hurt anybody. But at the same time, you know, you got to get back there and you got to do whatever coaches call you to do. And so along with that, that's really just what it's been. But I've always had this sort of role on the team to where, you know, I'm praying with people, just truly trying to uplift people, and not only just try to play the sport of football, but also get people closer to God.
Now, I know you talk to God a lot, and I know God plays a lot of part in the decisions that you make. You made a decision to come to Clark Atlanta University as a grad student. I know academics is really important. Talk to us about that.
So the reason why I have such a high GPA, I get Jesus to write on my papers. Really before every assignment, before every test, I really just call on Him, because the way I see it is I didn't even wake myself up this morning. And if I can't wake myself up, something that, you know, so many people do, but some people don't get a chance to even wake up, how could I then expect to, you know, call on, you know, the knowledge that I have to then get whatever result that the teacher is looking for. So I just seek Him in that, and then because of that, He just makes everything so much easier.
Now, I know that you're a leader on this team, but I feel like you're not just a leader on the field, but you're a leader off the field as well, and even not just in the world, but also spiritually as well. So the other players come to you for spiritual advice, life advice, and on the field advice. What's it like?
It's nice. It's comforting, but the best thing is that I'm able to support them. You know, one of the things about being a leader is it's not always about being the front of the pack, but just being able to inspire people to be better than what they are. And instead of having them look at me, because I'm not perfect, it's just so much easier to just point to Him and just be like, this is it. This is who you should be following. And really, the things that you do, you're not going to be perfect, but as long as you're trying, then that's all we could ever ask for.
Now, with the team's performance, I know it was up and down, but how did you feel about it as a whole?
As a whole, I'm happy that we're still together. It's definitely about execution on both sides of the ball. I love the defense. I love the support that they give us. I love the people on the offense. I love the things that they do, but it's definitely about execution. I know that this isn't the season that we really wanted to have, but at the same time, there's bigger pictures and things. And, you know, Coach Ramsey, Coach Carr, they've just helped and showed me that. But at the same time, we're going to win these last two games.
Thank you so much. This has been Jemiah Davison as our Player of the Week, and we have some more scores from around the HBCUs and Pioneer of the Week, all coming up next. Our Pioneer of the Week, Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan was taken in the second round in the 1993 NFL Draft by the New York Giants. At Texas Southern University, he had a reputation for sacking quarterbacks as demonstrated by his school record of 41.5 career sacks. That ability transitioned well into the pro level, and by the time his 15th season NFL career ended, he ranked 5th all-time in sack leaders and was the Giants' record holder for 141.5 career sacks. He and his team defeated the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 42. Strahan was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame in 2014. Our Pioneer of the Week, Michael Strahan. Coach, looking forward to the game against Miles. Talk about the game last year.
Well, last year we played Miles on a Thursday night, actually. And, it was a good ball game. Of course, they came out the victors. They had the Offensive Player of the Year last year and running back.
Right.
And, but a new season, and, we both have the same record. They had lost some close ones, too. They lost in the Chicago Classic against Morehouse with a Hail Mary pass.
Right.
And then they lost to Lane just last week in the 14-10 ball game.
Now, when we lost, it was 17-38, so the game was close. Will it be this close this year?
Well, this year we're at home, and like I told our guys this morning, I mean, we looking to see the offense get that deal turned up and defensively continue to get better and with the team. So I'm looking for us to come out and score a lot of points and to contain their offense and play well on special teams.
Now, we have identical records. Are our teams similarly built?
Well, we're a different ball club. They're 4-3. They don't blitz as much.
Right.
They run the zone, RPOs. They'll get into multiple sets. They'll bring 2 tight ends in the ball game. They do a lot of shifts. But defensively, they're pretty 4-3 standard football team. And then I think special teams, they have a real good punter and a field goal kicker.
All right.
And so field position is going to be crucial.
Now, you talked about how last year was played on a Thursday night and this year will be played on a Saturday afternoon. Is there really a difference, or is it just still a game?
Well, when the main thing about Saturday ball games is that, you have that full week, but after you play on a Saturday, you got to come back and play that Thursday. It's a short week, but you have a short week for both teams.
True.
But nevertheless, home game, and, our guys are excited about being back home, and we look forward to seeing Miles here on Saturday.
Now, Miles has averaged 26 points in the last 3 games. Is that going to be a problem this game, or that's nothing else?
Well, defensively with us, the essence of us getting after them and doing some game tackles and create some bad situations and put pressure on their offense.
Now, they lost last week to Lane. Is there anything that we could use from that film to help us get the win?
Well, like I said, it was a low-scoring game. They lost 14-10. But Lane did a nice job of moving the football on them. I mean, they had some movement, low-scoring game, but they sustained some drive. They spread out their defense. And, defensively, it's going to be about us containing their offense and being us defensively, applying pressure and creating turnovers. And offensively, it's about getting into a sync and maintaining drives. And once we get in the red zone, to come out with points.
Now, I feel like every team has their own kind of bread and butter plays that they like to run. What are their bread and butter?
Well, if their deal is running the zone, got good backs, and then after the zone or RPO, they'll fake the zone and throw the quick game, and then they do a good job of if you start creeping up, they throw it over the top as well. So they got the vertical game too. This point in the season, when you into your 9th and 8th ball game, I mean, both teams have seen a lot. So one thing about both teams, it's nothing new that each team will see that's brand new.
And you're talking about, how the season has progressed. Are we banged up at all?
Well, the game of football, you got guys that you always you play kind of with the pains. True injuries are true injuries, and keep guys out of ball games. But boy, a sore ankle or a tinked up shoulder pretty much stays that way throughout the season. But one thing about this bunch of ours, I never question our guys' courage and their durability.
Odom, will he return this game?
Well, you know, we worked him out today, this morning.
Okay.
You know, he made some throws in the pocket. You know how it is with a hamstring until you really get that full twitch on it. And trainer's been doing a good job. He's been getting his treatments 3 times a day. And I believe he'll be ready.
Will McNeil return this game?
Well, McNeil, he still has to be cleared by the doctors. And we should get that evaluation sometime this evening.
So when you have injured players like that, what are you telling them to tell the other players who are playing?
Well, if that's it, I mean, the next guy got to step up. You know, we lost Wade and Mixon, a true freshman, stepped up at the middle backer. You know, once, of course, when Odom went down, of course, you know, we got Stafford there. And we had to get P.J. Sanford a lot of snaps this week just in case Odom is not there. Hey, the next guy got to step up, and that's the deal about having opportunities. When your number is called, you got to have an answer to that bell.
Now, speaking of stepping up, you said like when they like to creep up on defense, they will, or well, when they like to creep up on offense, they're not afraid to throw it over the top. Now, who are the weapons on their team specifically?
Well, it all starts with their running back.
Okay.
You know, Montavious, he do a great job of running that zone play for him and creeping up. And then Leonard is a receiver they have that's doing an outstanding job for those guys. And then they get into sets with 2 tight end sets. And then, you know, they would feature one of those tight ends. And then they'll get in all 5 wide where they go empty set, 5 receivers. So we just got to be ready to dial up our defenses versus the personnel groupings that they would line up on the field against us.
How do we match up against them on the defensive side of the ball?
I think we match up. Yeah, I think we match up at the skill position. I think I feel good about our matchups, you know, because that's what you look for in the chess game takes place, or bad matchups, you know. And but I think that our receivers on their linebackers, I'm anticipating us causing problems when we have our offense out there with our 4 wide game, and I feel good about our tight ends too versus their linebackers.
Coach, thank you so much for that. This has been the Coach's Show with Coach Kevin Ramsey. We'll see you next week.